Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to my next narrated Pokemon Wi-Fi battle upload. Today's battle is an NU match against an opponent by the name of MegamanxZero, who I met on the Smogon Wi-Fi Battle Finder. As you can see, I'm using the same team that I used in my most previous video, and my opponent is using a pretty wide mix of various NU Pokemon. One of the things that I was really threatened by initially is Barrel, because if that thing sets up, you pretty much lose because of the simple ability. Also, I know Rykard's probably going to be very annoying, and even though Seadra is very uncommon to see in NU, I do know how that thing works with a Violate, but I'm not too threatened by it just because I know that it's not very powerful. It just can be pretty defensive. But anyways, let's just jump into it right now. So I decided to lead off with my Cacturn while my opponent led off with his Golem. Now this is absolutely fantastic for me because I actually packed Bullet Seed on my Cacturn just because of leads like this, which are going to be very weak to grass moves, and also pack the Sturdy ability. So since Bullet Seed hits 3 times, the Sturdy ability does not activate, and I'm actually able to cleanly take out this Golem on turn 1. However, my opponent does now switch out into his Charizard, so I do have to make the switch out, obviously predicting the fire move. So I'll go out and do my specially defensive Seeking to take that really well, and I'm able to basically force my opponent out. Now the only thing I feel like this Charizard could even hit my Seeking with would be like a Hidden Power Grass, but I don't know if he would have predicted that early in the match. But anyways, I go for Scald on the switch. My opponent goes out into his Luxray probably to scare me out, except I'm pretty sure that my opponent does not know that Seeking gets the Lightning Rod ability, because as you're going to see on the next turn after I protect for some toxic damage, he actually does go for the Wild Charge, which does obviously activate my Lightning Rod and give me a +1 special attack boost, meaning that my second Scald is going to do a huge chunk of damage to this Luxray and bring it down into a very low range of health. However, knowing that I do have Protect, and I could just go for that to stall out for one last turn of toxic damage, my opponent actually switches out safely into his Rykard and starts going for some prankster shenanigans like Rykard always does. But me not wanting to let it get a sub up and knowing that I have a +1 attack boost, I feel like I'm in a pretty good position to at least hurt it some before I'm able to have to switch out or get killed due to Parafusion and foul play. But anyways, he does go for the Swagger right here. And I'm able to actually get off a big chunk of damage, though I'm guessing this might be like a max specially defensive Rykard, because that, even at +1, didn't do that much damage. But he's able to get up a substitute now. I do hit myself a Confusion now, and now he's freely able to go for Foul Play on the next turn, which does a huge amount of damage to the Seeking because I am specially defensive, not physically defensive, so this is hitting my weaker defense with a +2 attack. And then on the following turn I do get Confused again to take myself out from the Confusion damage. Now, seeing as he's behind a sub, I know that I don't have too much that I can really hurt this, except for Cacturn right here, because as you saw before, I do have the Bullet Seed, so I'm able to actually just go for that right now. I break the sub with 1 hit of it, and then I'm able to take it out with the following hits from Bullet Seed, which is really great because this problem that could have been incredibly hard to deal with is now gone. But again, he switches out into his Charizard on my Cacturn, so I do have to switch out. I don't have Seeking this time, but I do have my Charizard to take it. And then he goes for Hidden Power, which is what I was assuming would be Grass, except it's actually Ice, and he was actually confused by that too because he wasn't expecting it to be that. But I just go for a substitute on the switch to basically get up a protective barrier against anything that wants to come in. Now here he brings in his Seadra, and I go for the Will-O-Wisp to try to burn on it, and I speed this part up just a little bit because it's a little bit long. I missed 2 Will-O-Wisps in a row, which really sucks. And now I have to start roosting off the Scald damage, but as you can see, Scald isn't doing too much because I am pretty specially defensive on this Charizard, so I'm able to actually live a couple Scalds. I live with about 14 HP right there and finally get off a burn. But since I'm recovering more damage than my opponent is dealing with Scald, I'm actually pretty safe. But he misses a Toxic right there, which I guess kind of works out because I missed 2 Will-O-Wisps, and then if I didn't miss them at all, I wouldn't even be in this situation. But seeing as I can actually stall the Seadra out, I was figuring why not just show off how awesome Charizard is if you run a defensive set on it. So at any point during this whole situation, I could have switched out into Electabuzz, but I just wanted to go or leave Charizard in to take out the Seadra, which I thought was kind of fun. But anyways, he does bring in his Barrel right here, and me not wanting to let it set up and go for Curses or something, I just go for a Burn to try and cripple it as much as possible before getting taken down. If he did have Quick Attack, I felt like he would have gone for it there, but I'm assuming he didn't, so that was actually really lucky for me. But here, he just I bring in my Golurk because I just like going for dynamic punches on things. That was literally the only reason. Again, I could have went to Electabuzz, but I figured why not. So I went for a dynamic punch and took it out. And then all he has left, I believe, after the Barrel dies is this Luxray, which is basically dead. and his Charizard. So here I do switch out into my my Kangaskhan, because I figured I could take an Ice Fang if that was what he wanted to go for, except he goes for some kind of hidden power, or a Crunch. That would have been the other thing. But if he has some hidden power, which I'm assuming is Ice or Fire, which is actually incredibly cool, because you could actually, or Luxray doesn't have a bad special attack, and you could use that against things like Tangela. But here he just goes for Fire Blast on his Charizard. It's the last thing left, and I learned right here that it is actually Scarfed, but thankfully when I hit him with my return, it doesn't bring him into blaze range, which means that my Electabuzz is actually going to be able to survive this next Fire Blast and then take it out on the following turn with a Thunderbolt. Now, I was under the impression this whole time that my Electabuzz would have outsped his Charizard even if it was Scarfed, because I thought I was timid, but I'm actually modest, so that was actually really scary right there when I was unable to outspeed him, because I thought I might have just lost the match, but thankfully I was able to live it. But anyways, that was it for this battle, everyone, so I hope you enjoyed. I really enjoy using this team, and you can expect the next upload from me to be a defensive Charizard set that I've kind of been using in these last couple episodes, and I really enjoy it. It's such a fun Pokemon to use, and nobody really sees it being a defensive Pokemon, and that's why it's great. But anyways, that is it for this battle, so as always, take care, goodbye, I will see you next time, and thank you MegamanxZero for the match.